Welcome back to the classroom. In this lesson, we're going to dig into the role of advisors at the Creative Build. I'm going to show you why they matter, how to think about the right advisors to invite, and how to manage them in the Creative Build workspace. So let's get started. I'm a big believer that collaboration is essential for business success, not just in creative industries, but in all businesses. If you talk to successful entrepreneurs and ask them about their success, I guarantee you that collaboration will be an important part of their story. So at the Creative Build, I want you to start with the mindset that you should not try to build your business alone. Here's how that mindset applies directly to creative industries. You are navigating complex markets where buyer tastes and buyer behaviors are fickle. They change all the time. So you're hitting a moving target. And the best way to manage that is through collaboration. So this lesson has 3 goals. First, I want to go a little bit deeper into why you need to collaborate as you build. And we're going to talk about a couple different types of collaboration at the Creative Build. This section is specifically about advisors. So next, I'm going to help you identify advisors who can help you. And then finally, I'm going to show you how to apply that in the Creative Build workspace. So let's talk about why you need to collaborate. I already talked about how your markets are constantly changing, but that's not the only source of complexity in business. Let's look inward to find the first source. That's your business. Think about all the different types of things that a founder has to be good at, especially a creative founder. You don't just have to be good at your craft, you have to be good at marketing, sales. As you grow, you have to be good at business strategy, hiring, leading people. And it's likely that the market you serve isn't just a local market. It's regional, national, maybe even global. With a diverse population of buyers who, as I said before, are fickle. Their tastes and their behaviors are changing all the time. So you're hitting a target that's always moving, that's always in flux, with a system that has lots of moving parts and requires lots of expertise to function well. In a world like that, no one person can have all the answers. Business has to be collaborative because the way to find those answers is through collective intelligence. By building a team, with each person on that team playing a specific role that they're great at playing. That makes the whole system more efficient, and it makes it stronger and more able to navigate the complexities of businesses and markets. Your advisors are an important part of that team. We're going to talk about other types of collaboration and partnerships later on, but today I want to focus on your advisors because most successful entrepreneurs actually start here. They start with peer advisory, with people who are going through or have recently gone through the same challenges that you're navigating right now. So let's start by identifying who the best advisors are for your business. And that's a personal choice. But in general, the best advisors share your mission and values. That assertion cuts across every type of partnership you could have for your business. If someone on your team doesn't share your perspective on what matters most in the world, partnership will never work. It'll fall apart. So you want to make sure that your advisors have the same values foundation that you do. The second thing that the best advisors bring are complementary strengths. That means they have strengths where you have weaknesses. But the complementary nature of partnership also means that you have strengths where they have weaknesses. One of the goals isn't just to take value from the relationship. Relationships don't work like that. Advisors should get value out of the partnership too. And that's why complementary strengths are so important. And then finally, the best advisors have walked in your shoes, meaning they're either walking in your shoes right now and facing the same challenges you are, or they've done so very recently. So my advice when you're choosing advisors isn't to pick somebody who's a multi-billionaire, who's been running a business for 15 years, and when they're giving you advice has to think back to where they were 15 years ago when they were in your shoes. Because of the dynamic nature of business and markets, the world has moved on from that moment. Their advice is probably not as relevant as someone who faced the challenge that you're facing last month, last quarter, or last year. So recency matters with advisory. Pick someone who's intimately knowledgeable about your challenges because they faced them recently. To identify the best advisors for your team, you can ask yourself 3 questions. First, who do you know who's also building a creative business? Second, which of them have strengths that you lack today and maybe weaknesses where you have strengths? And then finally, which of them are either facing the same challenges that you are right now, or maybe 1 or 2 steps ahead. They've already faced those challenges and they've solved them, but very recently. And they're still deep in the struggle of starting and growing a business. I want to end by reiterating what I said when I talked about complementary strengths. Your advisors will likely get as much value out of the relationship as you do, often more. And I can say that as somebody who's advised a lot of businesses. I learn so much when I do it. Your advisors will see that too. So don't be too concerned about reaching out and asking for help. You're also helping them. Now that we've talked about the value of advisory and how to pick the right advisors, I'll show you how to invite and manage advisors on your advisory board. Here's the advisors page on the Creative Build, and you get here by just clicking this advisors link at the top. By now, you've probably recognized the look of this table and the basic layout of the different pages at the Creative Build. And then there's some instructions here on how to manage the advisors, but I'll take you through that as well. This is your list of advisors. Everybody who you invite to be on your advisory board shows up here automatically. And before they've responded, they just show up as invited in the status. If they decline to be an advisor, they'll show up as declined. And if they accept, they'll show up as accepted. So pretty simple. You can see their name, their email, and you can view and manage the different advisors on your team from right here. You can't change the status because that's up to them, but you can delete people from your advisory team if you ever need to in the future by clicking down here. You can also message advisors directly from the site right here. If you want to invite a new advisor to your board, you start by clicking this message here. And all you need to do is enter their first name and an email address, and they'll receive an invitation from me. But I want to talk about what that invitation looks like. My goal here is to make it as easy as possible for you to collaborate at the Creative Build. And that's why I've set up a system to invite advisors on your behalf. So when they get an invitation, they receive an email from me that mentions that you'd like to invite them to be one of their advisors for your business, tells them a little bit about what the Creative Build is and what advisory means at the Creative Build. And then I ask a simple question and ask for an honest response. One answer is, yes, I'm all in. I'd love to be an advisor. And the second answer is, I don't have the space to do it right now. And that's okay too. The request has to be low pressure so that they can honestly respond. You don't want advisors on your team that don't have the space. And so we don't judge anybody who can't do it. We just move on and try to find somebody who can. If they decide to support you by joining the advisory team, they'll get a welcome email from me with a video, with a little bit more information on what it means to be an advisor, and then I'll hand off the relationship to the two of you. If they decline, that'll show up here too. They'll get an email thanking them for their support, because honestly, declining because they don't have the space is also supporting you. It's not putting you in a position where you have to force somebody to do something they just don't have time to do. But I also let them know that they can change their mind at any time. They're always welcome. So that's what the process looks like. I'll advocate on your behalf by inviting advisors and onboarding them, and then I'll hand over the relationship to the two of you. When you start that relationship, I recommend that the two of you set up a time to get together and talk about what advisory means for you, what you need, what you could bring to them, and then work through how you're going to communicate, how frequently you'll meet. Setting the parameters for what your relationship's going to look like early on is really important. So hopefully you see the value of advisory and you're all in. You've got some more advisors in mind that you could bring to your team. You see that they're going to get value out of it as much as you are, and that you've got help from me to help bring them on board. This lesson wraps up our introductory section in the classroom. In the next lesson, we're going to dig into tool 1, tell your story. We're going to talk about the importance of story and how it links to your brand as an artist and the brand of your business.